Ben, you lived in California for some time. You moved your entire company to a freer state. That is slippery Gavin Newsom. What do you make of that? You could talk more broadly. It doesn't have to just be my conversation with him. His podcast, his attempt to reinvent himself, to move to the middle end. What is the truth of how California has, let's just say, operated in the last decade?
So first of all, Charlie, I thought you were spectacular with Gavin Newsom, and he could not stand up to the scrutiny that you put him under. So just congratulations on that. It was a great service to the country, frankly. I mean, it's amazing to me when I hear Gavin Newsom talk about the wonders that he has wrought for the state of California. My family literally fled California because of people like Gavin Newsom and his awful rule in California. Crime rates went up under Gavin Newsom. Homelessness went up under Gavin Newsom. The economy went down under Gavin Newsom. It's very difficult to imagine a thing that Gavin Newsom did not help make worse in the state of California. There was a massive decarceration movement that happened under both Gavin Newsom and his predecessor, Jerry Brown, an attempt to basically empty out prisons in California because of, quote unquote, over incarceration and because of prison crowding. And so one of the things that major cities and counties in California did was they actually stopped prosecuting misdemeanors entirely because they were so afraid of actually jailing people that they said, okay, if you shoplift under a certain amount, we just won't call it a misdemeanor anymore. And so San Francisco became a place where you could basically just walk into a CVS, fill up a couple of bags and walk out and know that even if you were arrested, that you were then going to be released back into public charge pretty much the next day. And so police officers stopped actually doing any of this stuff. Again, California is a great example of what happens when a state is so governed by wokeism and dumb ideology that the state gets materially worse. And it's fun to watch Gavin Newsom now try to sort of fix his public profile. He understands that in 2020, 2024, if he wanted to move in the Democratic Party, he had to move way to the left. And now he's recognizing that after President Trump's victory, that the Democratic Party, if it wishes to win in the future, is going to have to try to make some move toward the center. The problem is that he has anchored his record so hard to the left, it's very difficult to see how he can stretch beyond that back to a center that he abandoned long ago.
Ben, I think you should go on the Gavin Newsom podcast. I think that you could prosecute the case in California far better than I did. I try to make it macro. I have not lived in, let me put it this way, I have not had the pleasure of walking by Sepulveda Boulevard and having to walk over homeless people in order to get to the office building. Right? I've not had the firsthand experience, which Gavin will always go to the argument from authority. Oh, you don't understand California. We have the biggest this, the biggest that. But they are spending down the inheritance of a prior generation. And California should never lose population. It's too beautiful. It's too amazing. It has all these assets, period. Ben, your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's 100% true. I talked about this on my show. Just a few months ago, I went to visit LA because we still have relatives out there. And we went to dinner with a couple who are still living there and did not leave the way that we did, despite my encouragement. And right after dinner, we watched them get carjacked, like pretty much right in front of us. We walked one way with our security. They walked the other way, and another car pulled up right in front of them. A bunch of guys jumped out of the car, grabbed them, stole their jewelry, took his keys and his wallet and stole all of his stuff. I mean, like right in front of him. And it took the cops 15 minutes to get there. And this had been in the same year that he had also been assaulted by a homeless person and his wife threatened with a knife downtown LA. I mean, like, this is what California has become. So when I hear Gavin Newsom talk up the magic of California, if it were so magical, people wouldn't be leaving. Again, people vote with their feet. And what you've seen is that all the red areas of the country are gaining population and all the blue areas of the country are radically losing population. By the way, this is such a threat to the future of democratic rule in this country. I pointed this out before, and it's really important. The 2020 census was done wrong. The Census Department acknowledged it was done wrong. If the 2020 census had been done correctly, President Trump would have been able to win re-election without winning any of the blue wall states. He would have won the election based totally on pure population in the South.
Well, so Ben, I got a good project for you. If you read, I believe the census is the 14th Amendment. It says the census must be done within 10 years, not in 10 years. I think President Trump can call a new census. I think President Trump should call a new census. Why not?
Yes.
Get Howard Lutnick out there and call a new census.
Absolutely. He absolutely should, because the reality is, and again, this was publicly acknowledged by Joe Biden's Commerce Department. They publicly acknowledged that the Commerce Department had done it wrong, and that, again, there were seats in Congress, by the way, not just the Electoral College, in Congress, that were removed from Florida, from Texas, from Arizona, from a wide spate of states that President Trump won. And then there were states that lost population that were overcounted in the census, like New York, New Jersey, and California.
Well, like
and as I say, Minnesota, right, all of these states lost population, but they didn't lose congressional seats or electoral votes the way that they should have in line with the census. So if that passes constitutional muster, And, we should check that with the current Solicitor General and AG. That is something absolutely the Trump administration should do, because you want to talk about equal representation. That is not equal representation.